Welcome to the Holy Fire Podcast with Father Justin Waltz on this fifth Sunday of Easter. Good morning. So a lot of the times I think we miss the whole point of the Easter season, which at the very basis of the season itself, as well as our entire faith, is the hope in eternal life. And that's what we hear in the 21st chapter of Revelation in our second reading today. It's how the story ends. It's sort of like reading a good novel or watching a real good movie. The beginning of it sort of sets the stage, you get into the middle of it, and by the time you're into the middle of it, you're just waiting to see how this thing is going to end. And that's sort of what the biblical story of salvation is all about, right? The fall, Israelite people, the Old Testament, the life of Jesus, the story of the church. And yet, right here on this fifth Sunday of Easter, May 2025, we are in the story and living the story. And so this season is given to us to remind us that the story is not over. We're in it. And there is, in fact, an ending coming to the story and our life. Hear it again. Then I, John, saw a new heaven and a new earth. The former heaven and the former earth had passed away, and the sea was no more. I mean, that's a pretty big deal. It's almost borderline impossible even to get beyond, right? This life, this earth as we know it, even the heaven that we are trying to get to, is all going to be completely destroyed and wiped away. And if that wasn't enough, somehow God is going to create a whole another earth. Now, think that through scientifically. If you have an Earth, you need a solar system. If you have a solar system, you need a galaxy. If you have a galaxy, you need a universe. The universe, at some point in whatever, happened 14.9 billion years ago. It's a very long time. So what? This Earth comes to an end, and then we're kind of in a holding pattern, and 14.9 billion years later, we're going to have another Earth? No. So how? Well, there's a lot of speculative theory scientifically that there's a whole nother universe and a multi-universe concept that already exists. And that Jesus Christ and all the sacraments that we are now presently practicing is a portal and or a passover into that other realm so that you don't get stuck in this one. So when it's destroyed, you go right along with it. And that's what we're going to call hell for all eternity. And yet, it's not just totally spiritual. The end of the story also does not consist of us somehow just being in this lofty heavenly realm, which we can barely imagine most of the time. And yet, it is a place of absolute paradise, where John says every tear will be wiped from our eyes. And yet, we're not leaving matter. But we are leaving evil. God seeks to transform the material creation into something totally new. And we will be in it. Something perfect, purified, an actual new earth, and a new creation. So what's it going to be like? Well, John gives us a couple of clues in this second reading today. So let's focus in on the positive end of the story. He first says that the sea will be no more. Now, immediately, from a natural standpoint, right, the ocean's gone, okay? No more Cancun. It's not that at all. It's a biblical reference that John would have been very aware of as a Jew. And the sea represents what we echo back to in the book of Genesis, right? God creates all these things, and then it says what? His Spirit hovers over the sea or over the waters. And the waters are a representation of chaos. So the chaotic end of our life, is gone. Now, I don't know about you, but that sounds pretty magnificent. There are people sitting here today that have had maybe a chaotic morning, getting all of the children here. Maybe they have had a chaotic week at their workplace, within their families, within your marriage. Chaos is constantly surrounding us, so much so if we really sit back and think about it. Many times without our day, you get to the end of it, it was a good day if you didn't have any trouble. You got through the day, it was nothing but a solid positive. And then all you got to do is click on the mouse or turn on the TV and you see all of the chaos going on around us constantly in the human population of our own country, our own city, our own state, if not to mention the world. And if that happened to be going well, which it never is, then you've got the chaotic elements of the weather. Maybe there's farmers sitting here today thanking God for the 4 inches of rain that we got, but before that, it was chaotic in our minds, wondering whether or not it was going to come at all. But in this new heavens and this new earth, God has overcome all of that, and evil is gone. Now think about that for a second. The big thing with evil is choice. And so one of the challenges of our lives is you don't get to do what you want as you will it. As a matter of fact, many times we're restrained in that, and we wish others would restrain themselves as well. Because that choice, if we make it, is going to lead to the chaos, which in fact is evil. Now, on a very simple point, it would be something like this. You get out of this holy mass, filled with the Blessed Sacrament in Jesus' life. You get into your car and you're on your way out of the parking lot. Somebody cuts you off. And in that moment, you say to yourself, pause. I want to what? Lay on the horn and lift my hand. Ha! Right? But you were just in Mass a few minutes ago. And what did Jesus say in the gospel today? They will know who you are by your love for each other. So in that moment, you got to restrain yourself and say, I'm not going to lay on the horn and lift my hand. Or I'm not going to do X, Y, or Z over the course of this week in any particular day because God says no to that. Or I know that that's not willing the good of another person, which is love, or willing the good of myself, but rather it's instant gratification. Something that may be evil that I want in the moment. Or maybe somebody has done that to me. They didn't restrain themselves. They said whatever they were going to say. They judged me in a particular way. And it disrupted my life. None of that will be there. Which means this. You can do whatever you want, as you will it, whenever you will it, for forever. Now how God gets about 100 billion people together in one place, even if it's a whole earth, where everybody can do what they want, when they want, the way that they want, and it's nothing but good for everybody else, as we're doing it, is totally beyond me. But that's the promise of eternal life. That's why Paul is going to sit back and say, eye is not seen, ear is not heard, it hasn't even dawned upon mankind what God has in store for those who love him, aka those who are saved. Because we can't even imagine a world like that immersed in the world that we're in, which is all self-preservation and defense and self-restraint in hope of eternal life or a better life right here and now. In this new heaven and new earth, chaos and sin are gone because it's gone. This world and its order and the way we live now has passed away. Every tear, John says, is wiped away. No more pain and no more suffering and stress and all the things that come with this life. Now just imagine that. I don't know about you, but I find that deeply, deeply comforting. Think about all the tears you've cried in your lifetime. Exterior, interior. the loved ones who you have lost, the mistakes we have made and mourned over, the regrets that you're carrying with you right now this day, and the trauma that you have either caused or has been caused to you that changed your life forever. I think of the years that I've been alive, most especially the years that I've been ordained a priest, of how many tears I have seen cried in hospital rooms as we have said goodbye to those that we love. At the funeral of those we couldn't imagine living without, and yet realizing that we can't get them back. In the wake of failed marriages, for those that didn't turn out the way that we wanted, or failed vocations. In the disappointment of our dreams that we once held so dear, with so much hope, that as we lived our lives, were crushed by the evil of this world. I have longed for this coming place so many times. Will there be no more death, no more pain, no more suffering? Where in fact every tear and disappointment and regret will be wiped away when our hearts, who were made by a God who brought us into existence, are now held by that loving God and protected forever. And in his presence, every desire that we could imagine is fulfilled, causing unending happiness in my life and in the life of everyone around me. That is God's promise. And it is real. This is the victory of Jesus rising from the dead. This, my friends, is the end of the story of the human race, and it is the end of the story of your life in this world. It is the fulfillment of everything that you long for. And it will be given to those who remain faithful. Someday I will see you there.